Okay, I'm recording now.
Now everybody gets quiet.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, no. Hey, everyone.
Should we say something here?
This is the Bayless High
Okay.
alumni class of 1963. What a year, 1963. And we're all still here. We've got Cheryl, we've got Nancy, we've got Gary, we've got uh, Sandy and Greg and myself, Paul Walhus. We're all here. And we're running a little slideshow showing our reunion pictures. And we'll just go around and let everybody say who they are and what they're up to and what they're a little bit about their journey. So starting with Cheryl, and then we'll go to Nancy, Gary, and Sandy. Okay, go ahead, Cheryl.
Hello. I'm trying to watch the Blues too while I'm talking. They're doing so bad. I just I don't know what you want me to say.
Just say what's your journey been like, and where are you now?
I lived in Florida 33 years and now I moved back 4 years ago, and I wish I could move back, but I can't. So anyway, I have 2 part-time jobs and I just can't stay at home. And I live in an apartment in South County. Okay,
Nancy,
next.
Nancy Herndon Ulrich, who used to be Nancy Brundick. Tell us about your journey, what you've been through, where you are now, and what's going on.
Well, I've just I worked for a while and then had 4 kids and raised them with a lot of historical background. Traveled all around the United States, but I never left Afton, so I'm still in Afton. Kept my base there. Been to Europe a couple of times. I'm going back in spring, going to France this time. Paris. I remember, yeah, Mrs. French and then Mrs. Kraft. So I never lost my French stuff. And I get to use it at the Benoit House. So I've stayed in a lot of history thanks to Mr. Keller. But I enjoy Afton in the Midwest. I like traveling around to the other parts, but I really like it here better. So
Now we're gonna go over to Gary Wolz. Tell us your journey. Where'd you go to college out of high school? What'd you do, and where are you now? Over to Gary.
Where do you want to start?
Where'd you go to college, and what'd you do after that, and what are you up to these days?
Went to Rolla, was in a PhD program until I told the guy who was paying for the equipment that his hypothesis would not work, and he kicked me out of school. Thank you very much. Got commissioned in the U.S. Army. Went down to Fort Sill to learn to be a field artillery officer. That's why I can't hear worth crap and I have to wear hearing aids now. Let's see what happened after that. Worked for AT&T for 16 and a half years in Lee Summit. Was the head of the development lab. They closed the plant. I had to get into something else. I sold real estate for 3 years, was the top salesperson in my office. Left them, got into insurance, worked for 3 companies, was the top salesperson for 2 of the 3. I got to the point where I wasn't really able to give my potential clients everything I could. So I left them, became an independent broker in 2008 and have been doing that ever since. Just successfully finished up AEP for the year with 15 new clients. Very pleased about that. My wife is a horse person. She owns 4 horses. So we no longer live in Lee Summit. We got a little 30-acre horse ranch between Harrisonville and Clinton, down in the middle of nowhere. I got 3 human beings for neighbors and 1,200 head of cattle. Oh God! But that's how it is in the sticks. I'm having a blast. Built this house. Still working on it. She wonders why it's not finished yet. I keep telling her, don't keep asking me every 6 months when it's going to be done. It's going to be done sometime. Gosh, guys, I became a Catholic. A Catholic. Can you believe it?
I thought you
How about that? Yeah. So I'm in Knights of Columbus now. I'm working with the police department in Harrisonville in something called VIPS, Volunteers in Police Service. We did Shop for a Cop this last weekend. Oh, it was a blast. I don't know if you guys have ever heard about Shop with the Cop, but kids who were a little bit disadvantaged get to go to like a Walmart with a police officer
Right.
and 200 bucks in their pocket, and they get to buy stuff for their family. Oh,
Mm.
they loved it. Absolutely loved it. One more thing I started, hopefully I'm not going to offend any of the ladies here. I started a chapter of Missouri Right to Life in Cass County. I've got 22 people on my team. We're trying to encourage young ladies who find themselves surprisingly pregnant to continue with their pregnancy rather than abort. Just feel that that's what God wants it to happen. Okay, I'm done. Who's next?
Go ahead,
Sandy?
Sandy.
Oh, well, when I got out of high school, I went to work for it was Union Electric. And I married Jim Robinson, and we were married 13 and a half years, and we had 3 children. And
Yay!
and then we got a divorce. And then I met my husband,
Oh.
Greg, in the nuclear department. He's a nuclear engineer. And that was when they were building Callaway plant. And he was one of the startup engineers on that. And so I worked 35 years for Ameren UE, and then we retired and we bought a boat and we did America's Great Loop, where you circumnavigate half the United States by water. We did that, and we've been to the Bahamas several times on our own boat. And we retired 8 months out of the year down to Fort Myers Beach, which is no longer, it's gone. We lost it all the end of September. We were down there during the hurricane. So we lost our boat, our car, and our condominium, or our condo. It was a trailer on Fort Myers Beach. We lost that, and insurance has paid for everything so far. And so now we're back home. We have a home in South County, St. Louis, and we're looking to find something back down in Florida, because that's where all our doctors are, and we have a lot of friends down there. Everybody's dying off up here. So anyway, family is up here. We do have a good life up here too, but we don't like the cold at all. So that's it. We're looking to go back down to Florida and find something new, different. So anyway.
Yeah,
Another chapter of your life.
Yeah.
If people would just stop dying, that's the problem. They just keep on dying.
Sure.
And I graduated in 63, like y'all. Y'all graduated in 63.
Really?
It was a major year. The University of Texas won the national championship in 1963. And I wasn't smart enough to enroll in the University of Texas. I went to Mizzou, and then I transferred to University of Illinois, studied urban planning, and got a degree in urban planning. And then I was required to go work for the city of Louisville, because the city of Louisville came and tapped me on my shoulder when I was a sophomore and said, "Look, Paul, we'll pay for your education if you work for us for 1 year." So I went and worked for the city of Louisville in the planning department, and had a beautiful home in Louisville with magnolia trees with a fountain. It was beautiful, Victorian, nice. Had a motorcycle, rode a motorcycle to work every day. And then I worked as a stringer on the Louisville Courier Journal and Times newspaper. I took photography, and I fell in love with photography, and I've been into photography and video ever since. It's just incredible. And then after that, I worked for the city of Minneapolis as an urban planner in Minneapolis. And then
Wow.
I went out to San Francisco and worked as an urban planner in San Francisco. And that was an interesting time, because it was the height of flower power out there. And that was interesting time. And then from there, I kind of lived in California. I bought a house in Occidental, California on 10 acres, view of the ocean, beautiful house. And at the same time all this was going on, I was developing and building a property in Texas, where I am now, out in east of Austin. So when I came back to Austin, I got involved in tech. You know, for a while as a transition, I worked in the oil field. I was a driller. I ran a drilling rig, was a roustabout. You know, we went around and repaired equipment in the oil field around Central Texas. And then tech came to Austin. I thought, wow, tech. I went to school for tech. I went to University of Illinois and learned tech. Now I can do tech. So I got a job for BPI, which stands for Business Professional Industrial. And we developed the first accounting package for all the early computers, you know, that led up to the IBM PC. And ultimately, we developed the accounting program for IBM. And we developed something called DOS.
Okay.
You all have heard of DOS, I'm sure. We
Mhm.
developed, we helped Microsoft develop that. And then I went and I had a huge break, the biggest break of my life, when I went into computer sales at this store called Entree Computer. And my boss said, you know, Paul, you're going to fail. You're not a salesman, you're a tech guy. You're just going to fail at sales, but we'll give you a try. So I was there about 10 days. I got a phone call from a guy who's just arrived in Austin from California. His name was Jay Cash, right? Jay Cash, you know,
Johnny.
that sounded promising, you know? So I said, well, what do you guys need? He said, well, we just got here from California. We need 700 computers. I said, I'll be right over. I'll be over there.
Yeah, feet
I'm
don't
gonna come.
feel me.
I'm going to come
Bingo.
live with you guys. I'll live with you and help you with your computers. So that's what I did for years. And that's the store that I was working for never saw me. I never even went back there. I just stayed on site at Semitech. And my office was next to a guy named Robert Noyce,
Okay.
who was the office next to me. He invented the semiconductor. He invented the semiconductor.
Wow.
He founded Intel, and he was CEO of Semitech. So, I mean, that was the greatest experience of my life. Semitech was a semiconductor consortium of the top 14 semiconductor companies, Intel, IBM, AT&T, NEC, all the big semiconductor companies. And then after that, I kind of got into working with startups, you know, various startups. I worked for Tivoli, I worked for IBM. They're not startups, but then there were a lot of smaller startups. And if I continued on with this story, you would be here another 3 hours. So I'm going to stop right there.
Thank you.
Paul, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
Paul?
Yeah, go ahead. Go
What
ahead.
about the guy who said you're a tech, you can never be a salesperson?
Well,
When
he
you came
lost
back
his
with all that business.
he
What did
lost
say?
his he
Anything?
lost his bet because I made him a bet. I said if I sell $1 million worth of computers for your store this year, you're going to have to send me to the Caribbean for 10 days, all expenses and everything. And I won that bet because I sold way more than $1 million that year.
Good for you,
He had to
sir.
pay me off. He conveniently forgot about it. And then a year later, I said,
Oh,
Bill, remember what you said? And he happened to have the tickets to the Caribbean on his desk because I had sold 40 NEC printers, and NEC had sent him exactly what I asked for: 2 tickets to the Caribbean, 10 days, the whole deal. Man, I had a great time in the Cayman Islands. I stayed at the hotel where Tom Cruise
for you, good
filmed that movie. Remember the movie with Tom Cruise?
Cocktail?
Huh? The Firm?
Cocktail?
The Firm?
Oh, the firm,
The
okay.
firm.
Firm.
Yeah, okay.
I stayed at the hotel where they filmed that
Oh,
movie, and we went on a submarine down to the trench, the 7 Mile trench, the whole deal. We went to the
Wow.
Turtle Island. We went scuba diving. We swam with the stingrays. I know why Sandy likes to travel.
Yeah.
So anyway, like I say, I could go on for 3
Wasn't it fun? I
hours.
was told I could never sell anything either. That's great. Great story.
Now, we don't have anybody
shut up
left to
then.
tell their story. Oh, well.
Oh, for
I
other
wish we had
stories.
somebody else here who could tell their story, like Terry Hanley or any number of people.
Can we make up something?
no, it's being recorded.
All right, so
Right,
should we
Paul?
end it there, or do we want to talk about something else before I end the recording?
No, I think you
You
need
brought
to.
up
I'm-
Terry Hanley.
Yeah.
Gary, you talk to him, right? Or is it Paul that talks to him?
No, Gary did.
Oh, okay.
What'd you do with the sound?
Oh, Hanley?
Yeah,
I talk to Hanley about every 2 weeks, about every
Oh,
2
good.
weeks. He's run into some health issues, but
Yeah.
he's still kicking. And as all you Florida people spend the winter down in Florida, spend the summer up someplace else. They go up to Ohio. I guess
Yeah.
that's where his wife's
Right.
from.
Yeah.
So they're
But
on
they're both doing
Naples.
pretty good. He's under doctor's care all the time.
Yep.
Say again?
As far as Terry's life though, Terry did a lot of fun things. He's got a lot of good stories to tell. For a while, he managed kind of a nightclub and a resort
Yeah.
over Boca Raton. And some of the people
Yeah.
that were guests there was Johnny Carson and Ed McMahon. And Terry's got a lot of good stories.
Mhm.
He's run
What-
into a lot of characters.
Was he like part of some kind of rat pack, like Frank Sinatra or something like that?
Would be
Who,
nice.
Terry?
Yeah.
No, he was the manager.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, but I mean, he's just got some fun stories to tell about the.
I bet he
was big-
does.
Mhm.
He was big, like when he got out of high school, he hung out over at Terrace Lounge. So he knew a lot of the people that were playing on Gaslight and
Yeah.
everything else. He knew all those people.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go eat dinner. I have.
All right, I'm gonna listen, Sandy, we really enjoyed having you.
Thank
And
you,
we
my
hope
dear.
that you make
Okay.
this we hope that you do it again. Okay,
Okay.
we hope you
Oh,
do it
I
again.
I just want to, if you're gonna play this real quick, I just wanted to say about Sandy Vogt.
Yeah,
that,
please.
Yeah, Greg and I went up to the memorial for her. It was in a charming chapel, and then they had a dinner down in the lower level. But they had a guitar player there, and he played the song that Sandy she wrote a song, and she had it
Oh, yeah.
whatever they call it when you copyright it and all that. And he played the song. It was very good. And then her grandsons read, she has 3 grandsons. They read her poems. And then downstairs, they had a lot of her artwork. She did a lot of painting. And so she had a lot of artwork in another room. And it was just a nice day. She has a charming family. And Bill's doing pretty good. He's got some health issues. And her brothers,
Mhm,
Bill
mhm.
Vogt and Al Vogt, neither one
They're-
came
Yeah.
because they're both not in great health. They
Yeah,
said their
they're ill
health
too.
issues, yeah, they couldn't
Yeah.
travel because of their health issues. So, but she had a good crowd there, and it was a good turnout, and it was a lovely memorial for her. And that was it. But she was a sweetheart. Sandy was a
Oh,
good
yeah.
friend, and
Yeah.
just she had a lot of good friends telling nice stories about her. And I was glad I got to go.
Nancy, can I piggyback on you for a second?
I guess. What do? What do you mean?
Nance, can I piggyback on you
I'm
for a
here.
second?
What do you want?
Okay. Well, the day that all of a sudden everybody was talking about Sandy Vogt passing, I hadn't talked to her for about a month, I guess. I called her cell phone. Now, obviously, she didn't answer. I thought maybe Bill would. And I simply said, Bill, this is Gary Wolz from Bayless, a good friend of Sandy's. So sorry. If you get a chance, buzz me back. A week later, he called me. And we had a really nice conversation. Much the same as you mentioned, tough time, second stroke, passed almost like she went to sleep. So no pain. I'm so glad he called. I really am. Yeah. Good guy.
It's good, Gary.
Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. That's nothing
Yeah,
else to say. What are you gonna say?
We all miss Sandy. What a great basketball player she was. What a great
Oh my
athlete.
God,
What a
what-
great
Good
person.
athlete. Oh.
What a
God.
great girl.
There was
what a
nothing
great
she could
girl.
do.
A great personality.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
A real sweetheart. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna wrap up the recording here.